off some stuff here. We have the ending to the NBA season, which is kind of lackluster. But the start of a lot of things like baseball, March Madness, NFL free agency, and also the NFL draft is also just right around the corner as well. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that too. So yeah, there's some big things going on in all the sort of major sports, which I'm really excited about. So trying to think about what we should do first. Maybe we'll just do NBA first. We always start with NBA first. If you don't like the NBA, you want to skip through this, hey, that's totally up to you. But let's talk quickly about the NBA, and then of course we'll do the other things like the NFL, March Madness, MLB, blah 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 blah. Okay, let's take a look at the NBA standings. Yes, that's usually what I do. I usually try to take a look at the standings for the NBA. Maybe I talk a little bit about the NBA draft, maybe the NBA playoffs, how the things are looking out right now for a lot of teams out there. Talk a little bit about that, but usually what we do here is talk the standings first, kind of what the outlook of the NBA is. Let's start with the Western Conference first. I usually start out with the East. Let's start out at the West. For the NBA's Western Conference, in the number 1 seed, actually, it's different every day, according to this video, is the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets at number 1, only a half game above the second seeded team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. In a couple days, the Nuggets might be in 4th place, who knows? In 3rd place, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. I said 3rd, right? 3rd place, yeah, Minnesota. 4th, the Clippers. 5th, the Pelicans. 6th, the Sacramento Kings. 7th, the Suns. 8th, the Dallas Mavericks. 9th, the Lakers. 10th, the Golden State Warriors. 11th, we have the Houston Rockets. 12th, the Utah Jazz. Yeah, 13th, the Memphis Grizzlies. 14th, the Portland Trail Blazers. And 15th, dead last, with a record of 14 and 52. 52, we have the San Antonio Spurs. This editing in this lineup of how things are going right now sort of jump out at me. Not really. That still big 4-team jumble between 1 and 4 is still very impressive. It's still only a 4-game difference between the 1 seed and the 4 seed. Even a 6.5 game. I guess if a team really struggles, could even fall out of the home court advantage area in the playoffs, which I don't think will happen, but man, that's pretty crazy, honestly. With the Nuggets getting back the number 1 seed over the OKC Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves, I do find that to be pretty impressive, just because of the fact I do think the Nuggets wouldn't really care about where they're seated in the Western Conference playoffs. They are a veteran team. They won the title last year. I feel like they wouldn't really care too much about having a good seeding like teams like the Thunder or the Timberwolves, where having a home court advantage could be a life or death situation for them, because they are a young team. Playing at home will be a tremendous feat to have when you're going up against a more veteran team like a Clipper hypothetical, a Phoenix Sun hypothetical. You're definitely going to want home court advantage against those more, again, veteran playoff-led teams. So I'm surprised Denver is actually going to super try hard and trying to get that number 1 seed. The Pelicans being 5th right now in the Western Conference is also very sneaky. I do find them to be kind of intriguing, but I still think that team is still too young to really be like a really big upset dark horse team for the Western Conference. I think no matter who they face in the playoffs, they can beat, sure, but would they? Would I bet on it? Probably not. I think they're still maybe a piece away from being really true contenders, or at least that team can just be a little bit more consistent playing all together, which we rarely get to see, really. But very impressive team. And the Pelicans, the Phoenix Suns being 7th is kind of wow. They're actually almost only half a game above Dallas for being the 8th seed. So that Western Conference play-in scenario, which if you don't know, the play-in is 7 versus 8, and the winner gets the 7 seed. The loser of the 7-8 seed game plays the winner of the 9-10 seeded game, which is the Lakers and the Warriors. So we could have a Laker Maverick, Warrior Suns, Warrior Maverick series. This is gonna be so sick if these 4 teams end up being the bottom of the Western Conference play-in scenario, because wow, winner go home intense NBA stan, seeing, LeBron and Steph and Katie and all these guys play off against each other, and of course just Luka Doncic being there. It's going to be really fun. Looking at the bottom of the barrel, though, of the Western Conference, it looks like the Houston Rockets are still trying their best to make their way into the play-in scenario. They're on a 3-game win streak at the recording of this video. The Warriors right now, I think, are, or at least were, for a very small period of time without Steph Curry, who had a leg injury, like an ankle or a knee. I'm pretty sure if it's Steph Curry, it's probably an ankle injury. So he might be out for a little bit of time, or maybe he's already back. But the Houston Rockets are still trying their best to make it into that 10th spot, but they're still like 4 games back from that 10th spot, so I don't think they're going to make it there in time. The Grizzlies are tanking. I think the Utah Jazz are also tanking. I think they already sort of put their cap off and done for the season, and then the Blazers are also tanking. DeAndre Ayton has actually been playing very well for Portland. Of course, you can probably tell. Been keeping a close eye on Portland. Yeah, DeAndre Ayton has been playing better. Now, is this just DeAndre Ayton on a very bad team getting to do whatever he wants? Yes. Do not take this into account of this being the new DeAndre Ayton, and DeAndre Ayton next season is going to average 25 points and 15 rebounds. It's not going to happen, but I guess you have some hope that you think that DeAndre Ayton could be something similar to this, but from what I know about DeAndre Ayton, and I am a DeAndre Ayton fan, I'm a big fan of Arizona, the Arizona basketball, people who come out of Arizona into the NBA, following, DeAndre Ayton even before he went to Arizona. It's just not it. This is not DeAndre Ayton, but it's cool to see, I guess, the Blazers having some sort of limelight on this very poor season. And then the San Antonio Spurs might get the #1 pick again, which is terrifying. My God. Anything else? The Thunder still look great. The Timberwolves look great. The Clippers are also looking great. I think those are my top 3 teams. I think I would probably go Nuggets, and then kind of a toss-up between the Thunder and the Clippers, and then no offense to any Timberwolves fans, I'll probably put Timberwolves there in like that 4th spot for my top teams in the Western Conference. I do still think the Denver Nuggets are the best team, at least when it comes to a playoff 7-game series. Trying to beat that team fully healthy is going to be really tough for a lot of these younger squads like Thunder or the Timberwolves, who've never been in a playoff series like that ever in their lives. Moving over to the Eastern Conference now. Sorry, I need to take like a big deep breath. Sometimes I forget to do that sometimes before I hit record. I feel like I'm constantly trying to catch my breath. For the NBA's Eastern Conference, we have the Boston Celtics not taking on, but they are in first place right now. And the 2nd-seeded team and the 3rd-seeded team both have the same record of 42-24. A whole 9.5 games back from being 2nd seed. The Boston Celtics this year, man, they just look so good. Anyways, 2 is the Cavs, 3 is the Bucks. They are both tied for 2nd, technically. 4th, we have the New York Knicks. 5th, the Orlando Magic. 6th, the 76ers. 7th, the Pacers. 8th, we have the Miami Heat. 9th, the Bulls. 10th, the Hawks. 11th, Nets. 12th, the Raptors. 13th, the Hornets. 14th, the Pistons. And in dead last, the new worst team in the NBA are the Washington Wizards with a record of 11-54. Yes, somehow, someway, the team I think that broke the longest losing streak in NBA's history is somehow not in dead last. It is insane. It's so insane how the Washington Wizards caught up to the Detroit Pistons in the loss column there for being the worst team in the NBA. That is just insane. I mean, if you're a Wizards fan, I feel so bad. Like, honestly, I mean, they have Koulibaly, which is like a good building piece, but bro, like I don't understand the Washington Wizards at all. That team is interesting. It's a very interesting team. Anyways, looking back at the top of the Eastern Conference with the Celtics, I mean, I say this pretty much every time I talk about the Celtics. I, even before this season started, called it that the Boston Celtics impressive. Donovan Mitchell should definitely get at least some sort of buzz of being in the MVP conversation. I wanted a box to tap on. Maybe I'll just do some mic scratching or mic brushing. But Donovan Mitchell should definitely be in some MVP talks. He definitely deserves it. The Milwaukee Bucks are definitely just waiting for the playoffs to start. They're definitely tired of the NBA's regular season. I think that team is just desperately waiting for this season just to be a postseason run and see how far they can go. Then you have the Orlando Magic, who might even get home court advantage this year, which I definitely never would have thought of the Orlando Magic being a home court advantage team in the playoffs. I knew they were going to be somewhat decent this year, but my God, they are just absolutely looking like a team that might be kind of a scary team to face in the playoffs. Another team that's kind of like that is, of course, the 76ers. If Joel Embiid does come back, which I have not really heard anything about Joel Embiid. If you know anything about Joel Embiid, let me know down in the comments. Let me know if he's coming back, when he's coming back. Definitely, the Sixers need him. Pacers are going to be a tough team. Obviously, the Miami Heat, they have been a very up and down team. They have been all the way up to like the 4-5 seed, and they've been down at the 9-8 seed, which they are seeded at right now as the 8-seeded team. I guess they just want the smoke with the Boston Celtics again. They want to redo what they did last year, which if they did, if the Miami Heat do exactly what they did last year, this year, that'd be insane. That'd be an insane story. Anything else? I mean, the Raptors are tanking. They do not own their draft pick this year. If it lands, I think anywhere outside of the 6th or 7th, I think it's like top 6 or 7 protected. So if it gets anywhere past that, it actually goes to the San Antonio Spurs. I know if it gets past that, as in like if it's a pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, it goes to the Toronto Raptors. And if it goes anywhere higher than that, it goes to the San Antonio Spurs. So the Raptors are tanking because they want their pick, obviously. So Raptors are on a 5-game losing streak, which I think might be the worst losing streak in the NBA. Yeah, it's a 5-game losing streak. Shout out to the Toronto Raptors. Definitely, desperately needing to get that draft pick. I understand it, but yeah, that's looking pretty good. So as things are sitting right now, which obviously, of course, no way this is going to be the seeding, or even close to a guess of a seeding to the NBA playoffs. If the playoffs started today, we take a look at the play-in scenarios. I think the Pacers would win, and I do think the Miami Heat would also win their game. So I do think the Pacers and the Heat would be exactly where they are. So we'd have the Celtics against the Heat. We'd have the Cavs against the Pacers, the Bucks against the Sixers, and then the Knicks against the Orlando Magic. I know a lot of Miami Heat fans are going to be like, oh, this is perfect, this is what we want, blah, blah, blah. Miami owns the playoff, Boston Celtics, blah, blah, blah. No, I think the Boston Celtics would beat the Miami Heat. I'm knocking on wood. I'm not trying to jinx anybody. But I do think the Boston Celtics would win this series. But my God, who knows? We have the Cavs and the Pacers. I am going to give this to the Cavs. This would be my heavily upset alert. Heavily upset alert playoff series if there was a series like this. I mean, this could really get nasty for the Cavs very fast. They do not get to take care of home court or slip up a little bit here and there. The Pacers are a team that could be very devastating, but they are without Benedict Mathurin for the rest of the year. That's a lot of scoring that's going to be away from them. So, man, that's tough actually. I'll say Cavs though, just because of that reason. Bucks and Sixers. If it's a Joel-less playoff series, of course I'm going to give it to the Bucks. If Joel is there, pretty healthy for the entire series, this could easily be a 7-game series, and Joel Embiid just absolutely dominates and even wins the series for the Sixers. But even on a semi-injured Joel Embiid, having to carry all that weight without having a really another go-to guy. No offense to Tyrese Maxey, but I don't think Maxey's really ready to be an almost go-to NBA playoff type of player, in my opinion. I'm gonna say Bucks, and then we have Knicks and Magic. Love the Magic. Also love the Knicks. You guys know I went to a New York Knicks basketball game in Madison these other teams win. Of course, the Heat have a big argument. Of course, the Pacers have a big argument. Of course, the Sixers have a big argument. And even the Knicks Magic series could be very close. But I think I maybe would say the Pacers against the Cavs. I think I would take the Pacers over the Cavs, but that is a big iffy if. All the other ones are pretty close. Again, with Joel Embiid and the Sixers, I have no idea what is even happening there. But if it's without Joel Embiid, they're gonna get waxed. So I think it's a pretty safe bet. But yeah, that first round would be absolutely insane. And then you look at the Western Conference. If it did again start today, I do think the Suns. Oh my God! So the Mavericks, Lakers, Warriors, and Suns. I have no idea. That is just a really, really tough ask to think about who would win in a single game elimination with all those teams. Luka, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Steph Curry. Like, these are just some absolute superstars. I do think for the sake of the video, let's just say it is what it is. Suns at 7, Mavericks at 8. We'd have the Nuggets against the Mavericks in a first round series, which would be absolutely insane to watch. I will give the Dallas Mavericks a good 6 games. But I do still think Nikola Jokic is almost impossible to stop, and I don't think the really bigs of the Dallas Mavericks can really stop him in any way. They do have Derek Lively, they did trade for Gafford, so they have more depth than they did have before, but still, I don't think any of the bigs are really ready to try to stop Nikola Jokic, so I am going to give that to Dallas. Thunder versus the Suns. Again, kind of like with Cleveland and the Pacers, the 2-7 seed here is going to be my, upset watch of the conference. I think 2-7 with the East would be my watch one there. This would also be my watch when you hear of the Western Conference between the Thunder and the Suns. It would not surprise me at all if the Thunder in their youth just were not ready to go up against a just absolute superstar cast of NBA Finals MVPs and playoff winners. Sometimes playoff winners in the Phoenix Suns, some players on there. It wouldn't surprise me if Phoenix beat the Thunder. It would not surprise me one bit. But maybe I'll just give it to the Thunder just because, but that's an upset waiting to happen. Then we have the Timberwolves and the Kings. I will give this to the Timberwolves. I think that might be kind of a harsh take as well. I love the Kings. The Kings are one of my favorite teams to watch in the NBA. But, it's not like the Kings are just an insane team. They're very good, but they're not like a star-studded NBA veteran playoff-led team. They have De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis and some good players, but yeah, giving out to Minnesota. And then the Clippers and the Pelicans could also be very, very, very close. But I'm gonna give it to the Clippers if they are fully healthy. Knock on wood, please God, we need to see a fully healthy Clipper playoff run. At least one last time. We need to see at least one last time before this team just goes down the drain because of all this money they're spending and how old everyone's getting. We need to see one prime Clipper playoff run, and maybe this year. I'll give it to the Clippers. But yeah, I think that's kind of how the matchups I see and how they would go. Now again, the Thunder Suns could be a flippity flop. Don't know how that one really goes, but I think these would be very fun playoff series. Anyways, anything else I really want to talk about for the NBA? Not really. I did say I'd talk a little bit about the NBA draft, but of course the draft is so far away I can't even think about it right now. I do have a lot of prospects that I'm looking at, of course, not only for March Madness, but of course because my favorite team sucks. I've been taking a look at this year's NBA draft very closely, taking and watching film on players like Alexander Sarr, Zachary Richichet, Cody Williams, Nikola Topic, a lot of other really good players in this year's draft class. The G League guys like Matas Buzelis, Ron Holland. This draft class, I know people have been saying, is one of the weaker draft classes in a lot of years in the NBA's recent history of the draft. I don't really believe that. I think this year is just not so much of a star-studded. I think you're not going to find a top 10 player in the NBA in anywhere in this draft class. Maybe we'll have to wait and see, but I think this year's draft class is deep. I think we're going to see a lot of people in this draft class who are going to be around the NBA for the next 10 to 15 years. I think a lot of these guys in this year's draft class are specialists. They're great three-point shooters. They're great passers, great leaders, great defenders. news, maybe. I did just do a NFL short for YouTube Shorts. I post YouTube Shorts a couple times a week. I do one for the first, just basically like the first 10 hours of the NFL's free agency, and you guys seem to really like it. There are some big time surprises there, that's for sure. But on NFL.com, they actually have some gradings. Well, Bleacher Report / NFL.com, whatever you want to call it. They had some gradings for the NFL free agency and what went down. Kind of wanted to take a look at what was really going on for the NFL. Now, I don't really know a lot of these players. Again, I am very, 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 very not good with NFL players. I know the teams very in depth. I know the good teams. I know the bad teams. When it comes to exact players and positioning, don't ask me. But for example, the Jacksonville Jaguars signed Calvin Ridley, which is pretty interesting. The Calvin Ridley contract is for 4 years, pretty much $100 million, which is kind of crazy. They gave that a grade of a B+. Put some guys around who can catch the ball. Looks like Ridley's going to be that man. I like that a lot. Looks like they do as well. The Cowboys signed Eric Kendricks. Contract has not been determined yet, but they get a grade of a B. He is a Charger, which I do know. As someone who does like the Chargers have been kind of lackluster in this NBA free agency. I've been saying they've been losing a lot of players, which is something I should be worried about. If you're more in depth on the NFL, let me know if the Chargers are doing anything right now. I actually have no idea. Let's see. The Ravens trade offensive tackle Morgan Moses to the Jets. The Jets get Moses and a 4th round pick, where the Ravens get a 4th round pick and a 6th round pick. Looks like more of a cap dump maybe from the Ravens. The Jets get a grade of an A-. The Ravens get a grade of a D. Looking like a very one-sided trade. I'm assuming the Ravens are just trying to cut some money. Probably weren't going to keep him anyway, or something was going on there eternally. Pretty much giving him away to the Jets. That's pretty impressive for the Jets' sake, it looks like. Let's take a look at some big-time ones here. Or at least some ones I know. There are a lot of little small ones. Anything. Mac Hollins. Bills get Mac Hollins as a C+, and the crazy there. Bucks get Jordan Whitehead. That seems pretty nice. They get a grade of a B+. That's a name I do remember hearing a lot of last season. Oh, this was not really that big. I mean, not last year, but in years past, this would have been a pretty major signing. But the Washington Commanders are signing Bobby Wagner, which is interesting. Bobby Wagner leaving the Seattle Seahawks, going to the Washington Commanders for a 1-year contract. That is interesting. Getting a grade of a B+. Now, I'm not a huge Washington fan at all, really. But I know they're always a team that's always on the cusp. They're always like that middle of the barrel type of team where you don't really know where they're going to be. They could be a playoff team, or they could be one of the worst teams in the NFL. But I guess Bobby Wagner just wanted to change the scenery, and he's getting that with a near $10 million deal to go there. That's pretty impressive. Indianapolis Colts are also signing Joe Flacco to a 1-year, $10 million deal. That is interesting. They're getting rid of a B+ for that as well. Do you think it's a B+ sort of get? I don't know what draft pick the Colts have this year. Maybe we can look at that very quickly as well. But do the Colts really need Joe Flacco? I have no idea. I guess it's better than nothing. He's a very reliable veteran quarterback, so maybe that's what they're looking for. And they got it, it seems like. Any other ones I can find? Of course, we have some that I've already sort of talked about, and again, that YouTube short I was talking about, like with Russell Wilson signing, not getting traded to, is signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers after getting cut from the Denver Broncos. That whole scenario should get a 30 for 30. I think it will get a 30 for 30 at some point in time before too long. Russell Wilson getting cut from Denver, going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm pretty sure he's probably going to play some minutes there. That's going to be very interesting to see. I mean, God, even seeing Russell Wilson in a Denver Bronco jersey was super weird, but seeing him in a Steeler jersey, oh my God. That's going to be insane. The Green Bay Packers have also been making a lot of moves. The Falcons have been making a lot of moves. Falcons getting Kirk Cousins, which I've already talked about this with the Falcons. Not too sure that's really a big time move, getting Kirk Cousins on their team. I know they were like a rebuilding team for a bit, so I don't know if this is like a jump to maybe try to be a playoff team next year. I know they're not really the toughest, they're not like the toughest division, so maybe they can try to win it out and maybe get a spot there. That's very impressive if they do, but I don't know, maybe they're just trying to be mid and just trying to make it in the playoffs. That could be kind of interesting. They also have an article here talking about the winners and the losers of the NFL free agency so far, and Minnesota has been listed as a loser. A loser, that is rough. Yeah, Minnesota is definitely losing a lot. Obviously with Jefferson also not really too sure where his, I guess, feet are at right now, if he's going to be staying there much longer, requesting a trade, where would he go, blah blah blah. That could be also very interesting if obviously the best wide receiver in the NFL, and geez, I've been seeing people talk about him being maybe the most talented wide receiver of all time, going somewhere else. That could be well. The winners in this article, again, winners and losers. A winner is the Philadelphia Eagles getting Saquon Barkley, which, I mean, if Barkley can just be like healthy, again, knock on wood, him with Jalen Hurts, that is going to be an insane backline. Like you would have to just put so much pressure on them that it would just open up so much of the field for Jalen Hurts to throw. They have a good line, so like, man, that's tough. That's really, really, really tough. If that works out, that's very much like a video game, Madden style backfield right there. Is that technically a backfield? I don't know what you're calling it. I know, like a backcourt for the NBA, so that's what I'm trying to envision it as. But no, a quarterback and a running back like that that's going to be an insane duo to see. But maybe it'll work. I don't know. Obviously, of course, Jalen Hurts' arm isn't really the most positive part of his game. Obviously, the most positive part of Hurts' game is being able to run and scramble and stay on his feet. But obviously, having a guy who can already do that with Saquon Barkley, I'm not too sure how that's really going to mesh. Any other thing we can really talk about? Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears, they talk about him being a loser. That's really sad. I do really think he should find a new team, though. I actually really like Justin Fields. I really think he should find a new team, especially if the Bears do go in that direction of getting a new quarterback. I think he should definitely get on a new team. He's too good to be a backup to really anyone like that. But yeah, anyways, NFL free agency has been an absolutely insane run so far. I do still think there's probably going to be some more big time things happening. There are some players who probably are going to be asking for trade requests or getting their contracts like redesigned. It's so weird in the NFL. You can have like your contract dispersed differently, just like randomly throughout its contract. I think that's very interesting that you're just allowed to do that. I don't know, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But yeah. Oh, actually, they have here an article about the best fits for Justin Jefferson if he does ask out. I'm kind of interested. The Chicago Bears, I do not believe that. Arizona Cardinals, don't believe that. Ooh, the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, if Rodgers comes back and he's still just like Aaron Rodgers, that would be amazing to see. But I just don't think like 1 year of Aaron Rodgers and Justin Jefferson is really going to be worth it. And then let's just say Aaron Rodgers like retires in a year or two. Then he's kind of just there by himself, and I really don't want to see that. The Chiefs, my God, if Jefferson goes to the Chiefs, I will stop. I'll boycott the NFL. I will boycott the NFL if that happens. The Washington Commanders also don't really want to see that. And then we have the Patriots at 6. Whoa, these are just some random teams. You know, I'd really like to see Justin Jefferson play with like a really good quarterback, but I would really hate to see him go on like a stacked team like the Chiefs or even the 49ers would be super stacked. I don't know, I'd love him to be on a team just with a really good quarterback and a really solid squad around him, just to give him a chance to be, again, a winner, which I'm sure that's probably what he's looking for now. If Minnesota does go on that losing sort of side of things and getting draft picks and things like that, starting a rebuild, I don't know if he's going to really want to stay there all that long. Maybe Arizona could maybe be that team. That could be pretty fun. The Houston Texans could be interesting as well with C.J. Stroud, or even Jacksonville, or teams like that. That'd be very interesting to see. Justin Herbert and the Chargers. That'd also be kind of fire as well. Okay. Let's talk a little bit of March Madness. Madness, March Madness, or I guess technically college basketball, but it is March Madness. I'm just gonna talk a little bit about the top, teams right now, like the top 25 AP poll, whatever they're called, teams. I guess my thoughts on teams, thoughts on players, key players to watch, and key players to watch. And I was thinking about maybe coming out early with a March Madness video, just talking kind of like that, but I'll just do it in this video instead. And then I think on Tuesday, like sketch. Anyways, Tuesday I'll be coming out with my official March Madness bracket, because I do think the March Madness bracket comes out on Monday or Sunday. March Madness, like the official March Madness bracket, comes out Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll officially come out with my Jake Baller take, my Jake Baller looks, and come out with my own bracket, which could be interesting. Oh, also there will be a March Madness giveaway for the person or people who do guess the right team who wins it all. I'll do a giveaway. There will be a giveaway this year. I didn't do one last year, maybe even the year before that, but the year before that I did do a giveaway. We're doing another giveaway. I'm really excited about it. Anyways, we have here number one team in the entire nation, ranked at number one, obviously. We have the Houston. Are they also the Wildcats? I actually have no idea what team they are. The University of Houston. We have Houston at number one. We have Connecticut at 2. Purdue at 3. Well, Connecticut, it's UConn, by the way. UConn. Purdue at 3. Tennessee at 4. Arizona, let's go baby, at 5. Iowa State at 6, which I'm still very excited about. I really don't know anything about Iowa State. I don't really know who's like even their best player. I think I've only seen them play like a little bit, like through highlights. I'm not really too sure about that team though. North Carolina at 7, Marquette at 8, Duke 9, Creighton 10, Baylor 11, Illinois, Auburn, Kansas, and then Kentucky at 15, Alabama 16, South Carolina, Washington State. Very impressive from Washington State. I did not expect them to be there either. We have a struggling Gonzaga program going on there, down there at number 19. They're usually one of the top teams in the country. Down all the way there at number 19. BYU, San Diego State, Utah State, St. Mary's, South Florida, and then Dayton, rounding out the top 25, or the AP top 25. Interesting. Houston looks really good, and they are a team that definitely, I think, will be the number one team when it comes to people picking a winner of the March Madness tournament. They have just looked so good against all of like the top contenders of college basketball. They have just looked extremely well, which is pretty tough to do, and their team looks very confident in the way they play. Another team that looks really good like that is UConn. UConn, I think, won it last year with the returning player of obviously Donovan Clingan, who is probably their top recruited player. You can also argue with Stephon Castle. I think it's Stephon. I don't think it's Steven. I think it's Stephon Castle. He's also a player that's looking to be in the top 10 of the NBA draft this upcoming season, and man, those two guys are definitely going to be a 1-2 punch that's going to be reckoned with in the March Madness tournament. Should I be really worried about an upset of those guys anytime soon? Definitely not. Purdue, though, Purdue has been shooketh by some teams this year, by some pretty underwhelming talent. That is a team that maybe I would say would lose in the first round per se, but a second round outing, round of 32, it really wouldn't surprise me if a very undersized, well, not undersized, but like under the radar team gives it a nice little Cinderella story. Because we look at teams like UConn. UConn did lose against Creighton not that long ago, back on February 20th, and that was a blowout loss. It lost by like 20 points against a Creighton team, but Creighton is actually a pretty solid team, a very good defense team as well. They lost against Seton Hall, also a team that really does play very well, very hard, scrappy team, and they also lost to Kansas. Again, a top team, a blue blood school in Kansas. It was a very close game as well. Everyone else, they've pretty much handed a big smackdown to. They beat UNC, Gonzaga. Let's see, they beat Creighton also. They held Creighton to 48 points earlier in this season. That's pretty wild. Yeah, Connecticut, UConn, they just look really dominant. Look at Houston. Let's see, Houston Kansas, Oklahoma. They beat Baylor. They beat Iowa State. They beat Kansas. Oh no, they lost to Kansas. Wow, Kansas actually. So wait, Kansas beat UConn and Houston. Okay, Kansas could be looking out for Kansas, I guess, in the tournament. They're looking pretty spicy. And then they also lost their first matchup against Iowa State, and they also lost a close game against TCU, which, I mean, it was a 1-point loss. Don't really have to think about that one, but yeah, Houston has just been playing some really good talent, and it's just been waxing people. So I say those two teams are probably going to be the top ones. Purdue, you could definitely throw up there. Arizona, please, if you're watching this, please do not pick Arizona to win your March Madness bracket. That is not going to happen. I'm still a firm believer in having like a star player to really elevate your team to make it far into March Madness. It's either that or good team play. They definitely fold more on the team play part of things, but I just don't think they are still good enough to really make a really good March Madness run. My underdog team, though, which I'm calling this team an underdog team, is a joke. But Kentucky for me, I think is going to be my team that I might be looking very closely at. They are 15th ranked right now in the nation. I think they'll probably be around like a 5 seed, 5, 6, 4 seed, somewhere around there in March Madness bracket seeding. They have Rob Dillingham, they have Reed Shepard, they have a great sort of like rotation of players that come in and out. Their bench unit is insane, and of course with good coaching and Coach Calipari, I think they're going to make it pretty far, being sort of like a lower seeded Kentucky team, not sort of like that true blue blood being like a top 4 or number 1 ranked team. I really think they're going to go pretty far, and I think they're going to shock a lot of people, and look out for a potential March Madness Player of the Year in either Rob Dillingham or Reed Shepard. Either one of them could be absolute breakout stars and just catapult themselves into being maybe a potential number 1 pick in this year's upcoming NBA draft. Another team that kind of has a superstar talent is Tennessee with Dalton Knecht, who's just maybe the best player in the entire country. Talking about Purdue with having Zach Edey. I'm not the biggest fan of Zach Edey. I think he's a good college player, but seeing that guy in the NBA, I do not see him even being an NBA player, if I'm being completely honest. But if he does, that's really good. But in my opinion, Dalton Knecht would also be a player to really look out for on Tennessee to being possibly the best player in the entire March Madness tournament. He is just going to be a spark of an offense all in himself. He might be averaging 25, 20 points in the entire March Madness run, which for a college basketball player is very impressive. Another team to maybe look out for is Baylor, ranked at 11. I really like them. Anyone else? Of course, San Diego State was being a very scrappy defensive team. Could be really fun to watch. Yeah, and of course Duke is always there, but I don't know. I'm also not the biggest believer in Kyle Filipowski in the NFL, in the NBA, but I do think in college basketball he could be very dominant. He could be even, again, another player that you could find being the best player in March Madness this year, but don't really think Duke really has it, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about a lot of these guys and a lot of these teams sort of going at it. But like I said, I will be making a college basketball video, my official March Madness video, on Tuesday. Maybe Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. I might need to take a day to like really take a look at the bracket, but if I really want to just make the video, put it out there as quick as possible, because I do think March Madness officially starts on the 20th, the 19th, the 20th, somewhere around there. I'll probably be more up to date on that actual March Madness bracket video when March Madness starts, but I do think it's like the 19th or the 20th, so it's very, very soon. So I'll be putting that content out there as soon as possible, because I know a lot of you guys are asking for it, and again, there will be a March Madness bracket giveaway. Very excited. Okay, anything else we need to talk about? I know I said I would maybe do some baseball, but baseball right now, all there really is spring training. I haven't really dug too much into kind of what's been going on. I can look at like standings, but like I don't even know if standings are really a thing for spring training. Are there like spring training, like championships, anything like that? I have no idea, but you can take a look. Like, let's see, the Angels are 11-8. see how the Dodgers are doing. Of course, them getting Shohei Ohtani and a lot of other pretty solid players. They actually lost their most recent game against the Seattle Mariners, but they did beat the Padres not that long ago, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm not really too sure about what's been going on with baseball that I really need to take a look at. They have like an article on here about the hot takes for 2024 for the MLB, which I'm not even really too sure if I'm like super interested in. Like one of their hot takes is the San Diego Padres improve after cutting payroll. That'd be very impressive because Padres are also one of my favorite teams to watch, and they cut and parted ways with a lot of players they gave a bunch of money to, and I guess maybe that'll help them. At least that's what they look like. I'm not too sure if that's really a true thing or not, but I guess they're saying it's gonna help them out in the long run. They say the Orioles are going to lead the NBA in the MLB in home runs. That is pretty believable. They are a pretty solid team, some good batters. That's not too crazy. They say Juan Soto is going to lead the American League in home runs. Of course, with Juan Soto now being a New York Yankee, no longer on the San Diego Padres. Interesting, gonna lead all American League in home runs. I can believe that, but obviously when you have Aaron Judge also on that roster, it's gonna be kind of a tough thing. Let's see here. Let's see. Anything else I can really talk about the MLB? Jordan Walker's baseball's most improved player from the Cardinals. The NL Central is a 5-team race. Blah blah blah. Yeah, nothing really to there. At least for me, being someone who's not that big on the MLB, still nothing really going on. It's just spring training, I guess. I guess we can take a look at the Premier League right now. Actually, we can take a look at the Champions League. That's a little bit more interesting, at least in my own opinion. Champions League. The Champions League, the Champions League just had a couple games not that long ago. This is their round of 16, leg 2 of 2. Whatever that means. It's their round of 16, leg 2 of 2. Let's see, we had some interesting teams playing off against each other. I did talk a little bit about this in an entire video, just talking about the Champions League last week, I think it was. We had Bayern Munich beating Lazio. We had PSG beating Real Sociedad. I think I pronounced that. Real Madrid actually ended up drawing their game against RB Leipzig, the Red Bull team. They ended up drawing them, which is pretty interesting. Man City, of course, blows out Copenhagen 3-1. Let's see, we actually had a team go to penalty kicks with Arsenal beating Porto. Wow. Well, yeah, I guess there would be penalty shootouts. That'd actually be really fun to watch. Barcelona beats Napoli. Dortmund beats PSV. And Atletico Madrid beats on penalties 3-2 Inter Milan, who was a team that actually went on to go to the finals for the Champions League last year. So, yeah, that's actually pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie. That seems like a pretty star-studded, I guess, some teams. Now, there are no more games that are actually scheduled anymore, so I'm not too sure when the Champions League is supposed to, kick off again. I don't think anyone won, of course, the Champions League. No one won it yet, but you guys should let me know down in the comments, when is, the next round of games? Because I actually have zero clue when, the next set of scheduled games is supposed to be. Is it supposed to be sometime in April, maybe? I'm assuming. Because, of course, we're still waiting for, the actual Champions League, tournament bracket stuff. But I can't see actually an article here that just says Champions League draw, how it works, who's involved, and how you can follow along. It says here that there will soon be just 8 teams left in this season's Champions League as the competition reaches its quarter-final stages. Let's see, it says here the draw will take place Friday, March 15th at 11 a.m. GMT, which is the standard time that they use over there. That's interesting. That's actually, wow, okay, that's actually tomorrow for guess, yes, that should be pretty cool. It says here which rounds will be drawn. It says interest will be highest for the quarterfinals. It says round to be played first. It does not say who. Okay, what teams are going to be involved? The quarterfinal confirmed teams are Bayern Munich, Man City, PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Arsenal, Dortmund, and Atletico Madrid. Interesting. Wow, that's actually very fun. So I guess those teams are going to be drew into a bracket at random, I'm assuming, or maybe there will be like some sort of like standardized ranking system to put them in their specific matchups. But it says here the quarterfinal leg will be on April 9th and 10th, and then the quarterfinal second leg would be on the 16th and the 17th. Then the semifinal, and the Champions League championship, the finale will be June 1st. So April 9th and April 10th will be the next set of games, and those teams that we just listed off will be the ones competing for the championship, which, y'all know me, I'm a Man City Glazer. I think they're still probably the best team, and I do think they're probably going to win it all again. They're just really good. I think Arsenal could be interesting. I think Atletico Madrid could be interesting. I think Bayern Munich could be interesting. Real Madrid, maybe. I'm not too sure, but I just think Man City is still just the best team. I would be interested to see Bayern Munich making it all the way too as well. I just want to see some really good matchups, and definitely when that goes on April 9th and 10th, or maybe even after this drawing scenario takes place, I might even come with a video talking about this before it happens on, again, April 9th and 10th. Do you still have the Premier League going on as well, though? We have the next set of games actually on this Saturday, March 16th, with a handful of games going on, like Man City against Sheffield United, Fulham against Tottenham, and then Sunday, March 17th, we have teams like Everton playing Liverpool. Or actually, that's postponed. Never mind. Oh, there's a lot of games that are actually postponed. That's kind of sad. We can take a look at the Premier League standings, though, because obviously, again, that's still going on. With Arsenal leading everyone with 20 wins, only 4 losses, with a grand total score of points of 64. But Liverpool in second place, also having a total score of 64, but only having 19 wins, puts them steadily at the second place position. We have Man City third there with 63 points, and then Aston Villa fourth. Then teams kind of right below that are Tottenham, Man United, West Ham. Chelsea is 11th. Forest is 17th, and then of course the relegation squad of Burnley, Luton Town, and Sheffield United. Very sad, very sad. But yeah, I have been taking a little bit of a look more into the Champions League. I did watch some of the highlights of like the penalty shootouts for some of the teams, and again, I cannot wait for that to actually start kicking off a little bit more when the games get a little bit more intense. Now that again, this drawing system is about to happen, definitely going to be more tuning into some soccer game, some football games when that is all going on. So that's going to be really exciting. I guess quickly talking about some other very quick things like F1 racing. I know some people wanted me to talk a little bit about that. They did have a couple of races going on over, I think it was last weekend or the weekend before that, on March 9th. On Saturday, we had the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We had Max Verstappen being the leader there, and Sergio Perez getting nice second place. These guys are, I can't see what they are, on the Red Bull team, I think, right? Red Bull, yeah. And then Charles Leclerc in third place on the team for Porsche, or Ferrari, sorry, Ferrari, sorry, my bad. But the Red Bull team is absolutely kicking it off in the standings. I guess when it comes to points in their total for all the racers, Red Bull is ahead by nearly double the amount of the second team, which is Mercedes-Benz. Then we have Ferrari, McLaren, and then Aston Martin at 5th, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, Red Bull is kind of kicking butt right now, which is pretty interesting. That's because Max Verstappen, name sounds really familiar, by the way. He's kind of just absolutely just carrying the squad there, as you can see from the standings and the points. It's just wow. The next race they have going on is Thursday, March 21st, with the Australian Grand Prix over there in Melbourne. That could be fun. I can actually watch this if I really wanted to, and maybe I will. It's at 6 course, UFC 300 is coming up very soon. I'm very excited for that. I might even end up like going somewhere and watching it, to be completely honest. We had Sean O'Malley winning the bantamweight main event, beating on Marlon Vieira. Yeah, Sean O'Malley's looking like an absolute stud. People are calling him the new Conor McGregor, blah blah blah. I really like titling fighters like that. I think that's kind of undeserving of themselves. They can be their own people. But yeah, Sean O'Malley has been really fun to watch. We had Dustin Poirier beating Benoit Saint Denis. I think that's how you pronounce it. I have no idea. Dustin Poirier winning on that one as well. Michael Page takes on Kevin Holland and wins out there. A couple of other random fights. But yeah, the next one is obviously UFC 300, which I actually have no idea when that is. That is April 13th. A couple of big time championship fights, and again, when that gets a little bit closer, we can talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much, and make sure to comment down below anything else you guys want to talk about. I think I did a pretty good job talking about each and everything that I really wanted to get to tonight, and any other things you guys want me to talk about, let